Hello, beautiful soul. My name is Yulia, and I'm the voice of the podcast Love to Heal. This podcast outlines my journey from atheism to Judaism, exploring spirituality from diverse perspectives. It is my hope that my journey will inspire others to embark on their own adventure of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Welcome to today's episode of Love to Heal podcast. I have a very special guest on my show today. Her name is Maria Volokh. Volokh is actually my maiden name. And this happens to be my cousin's daughter that, believe it or not, I have never met in my life. I've only seen photos of her and heard about her. And only now, when she is in her late 20s and I'm in my late 30s, we are finally reconnected, which is amazing and incredible. And I thank God for that. Maria, I will call you Maria. In Russian, a lot of times we call Maria's Masha, but I feel like Maria is a little bit more professional. So Maria, welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for inviting me.
I'm very glad to have you. Let's start from the very beginning. I myself don't know your whole life story. Tell us just a brief, short version of your life, just where you were born, where you studied, and where you are right now.
Well, I was born in Russia, in Moscow. I studied in the Netherlands. I did my LLM and LLB in the Netherlands and LLM in London. And then I lived in Lithuania for a couple of years and in Montenegro. And then I ended up in Israel. So now I'm in Israel for almost 2 years.
So, what exactly forced you to abandon your motherland?
As I just found out 2 days ago with my therapist, my childhood experience in Russia was pretty much traumatic. That's why I never felt connected to Russia. I never felt home there. And I was always looking for a home. I was traveling a lot. I changed quite some countries. And at some point, I thought that there is no home for me anywhere. I feel kind of okay everywhere, I can live everywhere, but there is no such thing as home for me until I moved to Israel. And I was so happy that I finally felt it, that I have a home. But I don't know, maybe it's their mentality and the weather just doesn't fit me there in Russia. First, I went to the Netherlands to study, and I didn't know if I will come back or not, but I liked it a lot there. I liked European mentality, European values. It wasn't like exactly, I didn't really feel that I fit there, but it was much better than in Russia. And then I couldn't find a job in Europe for a long time, and I went back to Russia, and I knew that I eventually I'm gonna leave because this is just not a good place for me. And I left. This is
Wow. So, for you, basically, your mom, your stepfather, right, that you lived with for some years, didn't feel like home enough to stay.
no, not at all. A few days ago, we had a task in Hebrew school where I go. Um, we had to write about our family, and there was a sentence like, "That's such a pity that I live far away from my family." And I was like, "No, that's good." Yeah, I have good relationships with my parents, but I prefer to stay away from them. If we're far away from each other, we can talk a lot by FaceTime, by phone, and we're very nice to each other. But if we're in the same territory, let's say, then the problems start.
I will mention this to my listeners very quickly. I also wrote about this in my memoir. that my cousin, your father, was killed at a very young age, and you were just a baby,
Yeah,
right?
I was one year old.
Yeah. So you don't remember your father, and that is very traumatic.
I don't remember him at all. I remember my grandfather a lot, his father, and I loved him so much. It was like it was the closest person to me in my childhood. I used to spend so much time with him, but he died when I was 6. So yeah.
Wow. It's like biggest tragedy in our family. First of all, tell us how you ended up in Israel, because when people move around, not many people think, okay, let me move to Israel. And also there's some requirements in order to move to Israel. So can you touch on that?
Yeah, I was in Russia after I completed my studies, and in 2022, the war in Ukraine began, and I was working for government actually. uh, and at the same time, I was very involved into politics. I was interested in politics. And from time to time, I did some activism. I went to all the protests. And when the war started, I just uh, couldn't accept it. So I started volunteering for lots of opposition projects. I went to an opposition party. I even participated in the elections with anti-war campaign, and I couldn't work for government anymore, obviously. And then I was imprisoned uh, for 1 month, and then I had to
For
leave.
1 month, Maria, you spent 1 month in jail.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like we could talk about that in a different episode, the experience. I can't even imagine.
And after that, I just had to leave because if I wouldn't leave, then they would imprison me for a longer time. And I went to Lithuania because they gave me humanitarian visa.
Okay.
And I took all my documents, which proved that I have Jewish roots with me, because I always had it somewhere in the back of my mind that I can get an Israeli citizenship uh, sometime if I need it. And I took the documents with me. And then in Lithuania, I met a lot of Jewish people who uh, lived in Israel, and they started convincing me that I should come as well. Um, and then I decided to try. First, I came to just get my citizenship, and I wanted to go back to Lithuania or maybe somewhere else. So, and because I didn't know much about Israel, I knew there is a war and it's very hot here and very expensive. But when I went out of the plane, I already felt like I want to stay here forever. I can explain it by, you know, because of this Zionist idea. Uh, Everybody is so nice to newcomers, and I felt needed here for like just I felt needed just because I was born myself, and that's the first time when I felt something like this. And I
Wow.
think it was very important for me, so I stayed.
That's a really important point that you just mentioned, to feel needed. Because for me, so my life may be a little bit different from yours in the sense that I also looked for a home, so to speak. Like I was always at home with my parents. I never really moved away anywhere except for 1 year I moved to Miami, but that's really close anyway. But I always still felt like I didn't belong anywhere that I was, or just somehow I didn't feel at home like within myself. And when I finally came back to my roots and I discovered Judaism all over again as an adult, I felt like it was a homecoming. And one of the main reasons was that I felt needed. And I was told that I'm needed because never before did I hear that? I was just living kind of for myself. I was I was really into Buddhism and New Age, and it was all about kind of like me, me, me. But then what? Like I didn't really see a purpose in life. You know what I mean? Like I would think to myself, okay, so I live, then maybe I'll reincarnate and I'll learn some more lessons in a different life and this life. And then what? Like, what's the point of all this? But once I came to Judaism, they told me, no, wait a second, you're needed and you have a job to do. Like you're here to serve God and to help us bring Moshiach. And I was like, okay, now that I have a job and I'm needed, let's go. And it gave me so much more energy and vitality and love, like divine love. And I feel like I'm at home.
Oh.
But that's amazing that you found a home in the Holy Land, which is a completely foreign land to you, completely unknown. You didn't know anybody there, and yet you feel at home. What changed about you?
First of all, I started believing in God here for the first time. But it was a different story, not like your story. I was an atheist for my entire life. And here, because it was the same time with my probably middle age crisis or something, I um, I had some problems with drugs, and I didn't really feel well with what I'm doing, with who I am. And I wanted to change it. And in order to change it, I needed to believe in something which is more than me, which is something which I don't understand. And I looked at the people who believed in God and they were so happy, and I was so jealous. And then I thought, why am I not believing in God? And I talked to a lot of people about it. And I decided to try and to try just to pretend, for the first time, just to pretend and see how it works. And it worked for me. I stopped with drugs. I'm not drinking alcohol for almost 2 years now. And I also went into therapy, so it also helped a lot. Um, but I felt so much more connected with myself. And also, the way I'm working has changed, and the way I treat people has changed, and the way people treat me also. Um, but I was not religious. I'm not religious. I'm rather spiritual. But I started thinking about Judaism as well, because I'm so grateful to Israel that I also want to give something back. And maybe it can be a good way if my children will be more into it, if there will be some traditions in our family.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. Ah, it's like music to my ears. I'm very happy for you. What about your job? What do you do now? And with that, what do you hope to accomplish?
I'm a journalist. I write text mostly. Um, I work for a few Israeli media in Russian and also for Russian independent media. I work with news, and I also report from the West Bank,
Mhm.
and I also write about Russian newcomers to Israel. Um, what I want to accomplish, that's a difficult question because, I figured out that sometimes it's better for me not to set goals, but be present in the current moment. And I love what I'm doing now. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and see where it will bring me.
Well, yeah, and one of the reasons that I ask is that you have quite a few followers on social media, and that's a very powerful tool. With having many followers, you can spread certain messages, right? You can spread messages of love, of peace, etc. So I was wondering if you have considered using your voice and your talent in your journalist career to bring to the world more peace and love and maybe acceptance of the Jewish people.
That's that's a very difficult question, and I have an internal dilemma about that because I started with my social media here in Israel, but as a journalist, you're not supposed to have social media, and you're not supposed to have a site and to have an opinion and to have an opinion. You just need to inform about the situation as it is without your interpretation and your views. This is how it is like in classical journalism. I know that in the US and also in Israel we have right or left media, and most of the journalists have their opinion, but this is not really correct. And at the same time, I want to have social media because this is something I like it. Uh, I got to know a lot of people through it, and yeah. So I don't know. I'm struggling with it. I still haven't decided. Some journalists say that it's totally okay, especially in Israel, but others say that it's like no way to go. I'm thinking about starting my YouTube channel. I'm actually going to Cyprus to interview someone this month, and for now I'm thinking about doing it in parallel, but it's gonna be interviews mostly, whereas there's like I'm gonna ask questions without my opinion, but I'm trying not to like comment on politics, not to comment on wars, and yeah. But even if every time, let's say every time I say my opinion about something on Facebook, a huge I don't even know how to say it, like problem arises because everybody started like start arguing with each other, and yeah.
Yes, I know. Well, I've been monitoring, so to speak, your post because, I'm interested in what you're doing, and obviously I want to know what my niece is up to, and I'm proud of everything that you're doing. I think you're doing a great job. But yes, you're right. People, I've noticed that especially Russian people, they just attack. And yeah, everybody's so polarized. I mean, I feel like this is true for all people, but from what I've seen in the commentaries, wow. I mean, they just want to attack. And then some people, of course, take your side, which is great. But I've experienced that too. I have a TikTok and an Instagram. Instagram is not bad. TikTok, whoo, tons of hate comments, tons. Anything I say about Judaism, there's always, I don't know, 100 free Palestine, Jews should die, that type of comments. At this point, I've turned off my notifications and I try not to read those comments. But at the same time, the more comments, the more views, the more attention you get. So I don't mind the hateful comments, but I understand where you're coming from. I
Yeah,
totally
it was
understand.
very, very painful for me. I wasn't ready for it. And when it's free Palestine people, then I don't really care. Or when it's like pro-Putin people, then I also don't care. But when these are the people from my side, then it's very painful. And in Israel, we have a lot of memes about Russian Israeli Facebook, because all these people are so right, like extreme right. They think that we need to kill like all Arabs, or we need to kill or all people with left views, and they're very aggressive. But still, for me, it was, yeah, I couldn't really handle this hatred because it was uh, from Israelis, from people with more or less the same views as I have. That's
Yes, that's the world we live in today. You've mentioned that you may be interested in doing the Giyur, which is studying Judaism and possibly converting to Judaism. If you were to go through that, does that mean you would have to observe all the laws? I don't know, because being born a Jew, I'm kind of like, you want to do this much, you do this much. Like I can choose, but I've heard that the Giyur is very serious. It's a very serious process and they expect so much from you. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what it means to go through this process?
Yeah, but I'm thinking about reformism here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Which is not so strict. And I told my rabbi honestly that I'm interested in tradition and that I want my children to know the tradition. And I want to know the tradition myself, but I'm not really ready to convert. I want to see what it is, how it works, what I need to do, how it affects my life, and then decide. But I really want to learn, you know. And she told me that it's okay, that I can go through this process without converting, and that I can try to abide by these laws, to live like this for a year or two or uh, whatever period of time, and then see if I want to convert or not.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, once you go through that, I would like to hear all about it. I'm really just a beginner myself. It's interesting how Judaism works. You know, you're born Jewish, you have a Jewish mother, and then that's it. You can do kind of what you want with that, but you're a Jew, and that's it. And then for me, I'm just now starting to get into what Judaism really is, and there's so much to learn. I feel like one lifetime is not enough to learn all that there is, but the more I learn, the more I like it, and the more I want to do it. I hope that you find it also very comforting and interesting and worthwhile.
No, some things I came to them like intuitively. For example, I don't know the word in English, but as a woman, that you don't have to dress very provocatively and things like that. I just do it because I think it's right to do. I mean, I'm not like covering myself, but I'm not dressing provocatively anymore, and I'm not behaving provocatively anymore. And the same with Shabbat, because this is I I realized that I need to have one weekend.
Yes.
Yes, I need to have one day off, no matter what. And it
Absolutely.
should be the same day because this is just easier and it's better to when someone like fixes my schedule, someone else, not me. It's better for me. So I'm also doing Shabbat more or less, and I'm not eating meat at all. So it's also kashrut shouldn't be a big problem.
Yes, so this is interesting. I just saw a post, I think today on Instagram, that Israel, I think it's the most vegan or vegetarian country or something. Like you guys have the most vegan restaurants per capita. And I'd heard that also before from my rabbi, and he always jokes that a lot of Israelis are not super religious. And he says, at least when it comes to keeping kosher, God made it that you guys have the most vegan restaurants and people like that lifestyle. And that's one way to keep kosher.
Yeah.
So funny. I love it. Tell us a little bit about life in Israel. It's been, I'm afraid to say, a couple decades since I've been to Israel. So I don't know how much it has changed. How has your experience been?
For the first year and a half, let's say, because I wasn't really I didn't have Facebook. That was the main explanation. Before I had Facebook, um, I felt so much love from the people, and I never thought that they are divided. Because if you just go out and meet people, talk to people, everybody is very open and warm and supporting. Um, I also work as a model sometimes, and I had a lot of shootings for religious people and for not religious people, and everybody was so nice. And so they support so much because I don't really have like perfect standards. And in Russia, they would call me fat or something like this. They would not even invite me. And here, they always say that, oh, you look so perfect, you behave so perfect, and this is so cool. Um, but if you talk about politics or religion, then the problem arises.
Hmm.
Um, but overall, Israelis are very, very, very nice.
Which city do you live in, Maria?
I live in Batyam. It's very Russian.
Oh, it's very Russian. Okay.
There is a joke that you need a Russian visa to go to Batyam from Tel Aviv.
That's funny.
I've heard from many people that it was important. The religion was very, and tradition as well, was very important for them in the US because they could feel connected with their roots this way. But when they came to Israel, it wasn't important anymore because they are Jewish here anyways, no matter what they do. um, so Orthodox people mostly live in Jerusalem and they have very closed community. They don't really communicate with other people, but we have a lot of just religious people. They live in the settlements. They also live like in normal cities. They work. They go to the army. They are just as everybody else, but they they are religious. And
For example, on Shabbat, is everything still open? Can you still go out to the store or to eat?
in Tel Aviv, everything is open, and we have special Shabbat buses.
Oh,
Orthodox people didn't support it. They have protests. They have protests every week because they don't want to go to the army. Um, Yeah, in Batyam, like there are a couple of restaurants open, just a couple, and Arab shops. And we have AM/PM. This is the supermarket which always works. But in Jerusalem, for example, nothing works.
wow. Have you visited the Western Wall?
Yes, many times.
Did you leave a note there?
No,
Do people still do that?
I've never seen it, maybe, but I don't know.
That's interesting. The last time I was there, that was like our main goal to put a note with a wish, some kind of wish usually, into the wall. Pray to God that it comes true.
It
My
can't. Did it come true?
no, my note said that I wanted my parents to stay together, but they still got divorced. And that was one of the reasons why, when I was a teenager, I stopped believing in God because after this powerful experience, spiritual experience in Israel with my school, um, I came back kind of waiting for God to fulfill my dream. I mean, I was a kid, right? Of course, I wanted my parents to stay together. And when that didn't happen, when my family fell apart, with it, my faith fell apart for many years until recently.
How old were you?
So I was 13.
You know, sometimes I feel like the God knows better what is better for me than I do. And
Of
sometimes
course,
I ask for things which are not really good for me in the end.
absolutely. Now I realize that. Back then, I was a naive little girl. I didn't know. Nobody had taught me this. This is why I'm so happy to be raising my kids with the Jewish faith because it teaches you all that. It teaches you to trust in God, right? Bitachon. It teaches you to, it's first of all, it tells you who you are, and having an identity is so important because I went through so many years of my life not knowing who I am, why I am, nothing, blank, trying to find myself. So, like, it's amazing to see my kids already having an identity, trusting in God, and basically, it's like having the way I picture it when you believe in God, it's like God is always holding your hand. Like, wherever you are, you're never alone. And you know that God loves you no matter what. And it's amazing. I feel like it helps so much with anxiety and stress and all the things that life throws at us. It's just so much easier to go through life when you have God in your life.
I wrote a story about a girl from very Orthodox family, and she decided to leave it and to start living like a normal life, and about a girl who was not into religion at all. She didn't even have Jewish roots, and she did Giyur and came to this lifestyle. So the point of the Orthodox girl was that she was raised in a constant fear, because her parents didn't really explain her why she need to do this and that, and she always felt like she's going to be punished by God and by her parents, and yeah, she was just like anxious all the time. So I think it's important um, to understand that God loves you, as you said, and that He didn't punish us. He gives us lessons. And also, I feel like if something bad happens, this is just the most of the time, these are just the consequences of my own behavior, and I need to face it.
Absolutely.
That's it. This is not the punishment. This is just me. Yeah.
I know. It's so true. It's so true. Wow. You have quite an amazing story, Maria, and I want to just wish you happiness, love in your life, success in everything that you do. And I want to, keep in touch with you. I want to, of course, meet you in person. Hopefully, that will happen not in a faraway future. And maybe sometime later, it'll be interesting to do another interview and to see how you're doing and where you are, what you have achieved, because I feel like now the world is your oyster and all your dreams can come true.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we.
Connected. Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I wish you all the best and we will talk soon.